Hello, my friends. Welcome back to Ink and Fig. My name is Alex, and as usual, it's been a while. I wanted to cover a couple of things in this video. The first being a little bit of a reading wrap up because I finally actually read something. Anyone who's been keeping score at home knows that I kind of skipped May for reading entirely and I got nothing read, but I did finish two books in June, so I would like to talk about those. And today is the 8th of July that I'm filming this, and I so far haven't finished anything for July, but I have been reading a little bit, so I'm going to talk a little bit about that also. And then I would just like to talk a little bit about where I want to go with the channel, the kinds of things that I want to do, the kinds of things that I no longer want to do. And we're going to sort of talk about why I haven't been around as much and where we're going to be going in the future, because I would like to continue making content, just possibly looking a little bit different than what it has been looking like so far. But I'm going to save that to the end of the video, and we're going to start off with the reading wrap-up. So, June, I finished Our Violent Ends. This book was so good. I think what slowed me down a little bit was not only that burnout that I had from April from the readathon, but also just the fact that I kind of had a feeling that I knew where this book was going to end. And honestly, at the end of the day, I'm not 100% sure that I was right about where it ended, because it was a little bit ambiguous, I think. And I don't think that that's a spoiler, but I loved it. Oh, just the writing in this book was fantastic. I loved the characters. I thought that the character of Elisa was a little bit sort of on the melodramatic side, and I wasn't like entirely sure about why she was there other than as a plot device, but like that's really neither here nor there because the rest of the story was really good. I think that the political story and the story of the monster became a little bit unhinged from each other at some point. So the whole concept of the monster portion of the story getting wrapped up towards the end felt a little bit almost convoluted, kind of not necessary. It didn't really fit into where the rest of the plot was going. But we wrapped it up anyway, and it was fine. And ultimately, really happy that I read this. Love that I got to read this duology at all, because these were one of the ones that I was sort of putting off because they were really big, and I love putting off big books because they scare me. So I'm glad that I got to these, and I'm still hoping to read Last Violent Call, and then jump into Foul Lady Fortune because I have that also, and I'm super excited to read that. Now, shocking, I'm sure everybody, and especially myself, I read A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. I made a totally offhanded promise to myself when I first started hearing about these books that I was never going to read them because they don't seem like my thing, and I kind of still stand by that. It's not really my thing. And I think the best thing that I've been able to say about ACOTAR is that it's not as bad as I expected, honestly. I kind of thought that it was gonna be sort of a PWP kind of situation. If you don't know what that means, don't worry about it. If you do know what that means, then you know where I'm coming from. Just from what I've been hearing from a lot of the people who have read those books, that's kind of what this sounded like to me, so I was like, "All right, let's get it." And then it ended up not being that bad. There was a reasonable plot. It was, I would say, a little bit ham-handed in its handling of the theme. The riddle, particularly towards the end, was, I think, very cumbersome in its execution. And I wasn't particularly keen on that, but like, whatever. That was kind of one small detail in the whole grand scheme of the book. Everybody seemed very attractive, which I think was the point, ultimately. I have some questions about what's going to happen with the plot after this book, because one of the things I noticed a lot was that Feyre was doing a lot of self-hating, particularly in regards to her humanity, and I'm like, No one is saying these things but you, kiddo. Like, I don't think anyone hates you as much as you hate yourself, so I'm kind of interested to see if the rest of the books kind of address that, or not. You know, it really could go either way, so we'll see. I have my name down at the library for the second one. I think it's A Court of Mist and Fury. I'm listening to them on audiobook because I really think that that's the only way that I'm gonna get these read. But I'm gonna keep reading them because honestly, it was pretty okay. I was down for it, and yeah, better than I expected. So I'm gonna go with that. July. I've been doing some reading. Shocking, I know. I have been reading Onder and Santi Were Here. So far, I again also kind of have mixed feelings about this. I know more or less where the book is going and what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about um immigration into the United States and coming into the United States illegally and the struggles that come along with living that life and the threat of being found by ICE and stuff like that, which just, oh my god, this is going to be really heavy. And I know that. I'm not even halfway through yet. The front half is not that. It's very much Onder, who is this character, having an extremely gay panic about Santi or Santi. I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce that. His name is Santiago, so I'm like, it's either Santi or Sant. I don't know. Santi. We're gonna go with Santi. Yeah, so Onder is having gay panic. Santi, I believe, has come into the United States illegally and is trying to live his best life within those constraints. And that hasn't come out yet between the two of them, but I think we're going to be dropping that bombshell soon. And it's really thirsty. Like, the book is super thirsty up until this point, and like, honestly, as an adult reading this, I'm kind of uncomfortable. The reason being, this is a YA book. I believe both of these characters are, by Canadian standards, over the age of consent, which is fine, but they're significantly younger than me, and they are, like, very, very thirsty, and I'm like, I feel weird reading about this. So that's definitely on me, and that's a my perspective kind of thing. That's not anything to talk about the book. Because, like, for people who this is age appropriate for, absolutely. Like, you need that representation. You need to see someone else going through the same thought processes that you're having in your life. And so this is super valuable for people in that age range. It's just coming at it as an adult. I'm kind of just feeling a little uncomfortable about it. So, but it's fine because I think the back half of the book is going to be less of that and a little bit more real life shit hitting the fan kind of stuff. So that's going to be wild. Looking forward to continuing with this book. I hope the back half lives up to my expectations. That's what I really hope for. So in terms of reading, that's it. That's literally everything I have for you from May, June, and July. It's a very short stack. Oops. So the reason that I have not been around much in the last month is kind of because I haven't really been feeling like making the kind of content that I have laid out for myself. And so I've been trying to think more about what kind of content I do want to make and how that's going to play into my reading habits and how that's going to make me want to read more, particularly when I'm in these kind of, I want to call them summer slumps, because we kind of had a similar situation last year around July, if you've been around that long. So this is definitely not the first time this has happened to me, and it's happening now with more of a cyclical nature. So I'm like, I think this might just be how I am in the summers. I'm a little bit less inclined to sit down and read. And honestly, that's fine. I understand that about myself, and that's great. But also, we have the August semester of the Earlium Readathon next month, and I really need to have my game face on so that I can get through 8 more, 9 more books. So, I'm planning on taking away a few of the things that I've normally been doing on this channel, for the time being. This is just sort of like a trial run until I, like, feel like getting back into them. The first thing that I'm gonna be getting rid of for a while is the bullet journal videos. Now, this is sort of a more practical thing for me, that I have sort of fallen off of using my bullet journal, and I have been falling off using it since probably March. And honestly, life my life is just kind of a disaster at the moment because I haven't had a good planning system in place. The bullet journal really has just turned into more of a vibe than something that was actually helping me in my life. So I needed to come up with something better. So I have switched to a traveler's notebook for the time being. And so far, I'm really enjoying that for myself. And if I come to a place with that where I'm comfortable with my progress and what I'm doing with it, I might make some videos about that, and I might not. It all depends on how that pans out and whether this is sort of my final answer, let's say, in terms of how my planning is going to go, because I'm trying to do a lot of things with my life right now, and I'm trying to find the best way to organize those things, and right now that's it, because I can do so much with it. So maybe once I have that organized, I can show you what I'm doing with my traveler's notebook, but that's just for me right now. The next thing that I'm going to be getting rid of for the time being, again, is going to be my Lunar TBR videos. These have been so much fun, but I'm sure if you've been around for a while, you know that I've been reading very few of the books that I actually pick for myself every month. And part of the reason for that is because I don't include punishments in my game like a lot of YouTubers do with their TBR games. For me, punishment is an extreme deterrent to do most things. So if I implemented a punishment, I would probably just quit reading altogether, and that's not what I want. So I don't want to institute a punishment system into that, but it also means that I'm not reading a lot of the things that I set out to read. And that's also a problem. So I think that the answer for that is going to be just getting rid of Lunar TBR for the moment and just mood reading. Because, I've got so much stuff that I want to read and I never seem to end up reading that stuff every month. So I'd like to just get into the stuff that I'm actually excited about reading rather than forcing myself to read all of this random stuff. Like, honestly, as good as this book probably will be in the end, this is not something that I would have chosen for myself at any point in the near future if it hadn't come up through that game. And now part of that is great because I think if this book goes in the direction that I think it's going to go, it's going to be a really deep and profound read, and that's going to be good for me, but it's not something that I'm particularly in the mood for, like I'd rather read some other stuff. So we're going to be getting rid of that. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm not going to be trying to keep things a little bit spicy and trying to get some stuff done in my reading life. I recently went through my entire library and figured out just how many books in here I have not read. And I am absolutely appalled at the number that I came up with. If you're not sitting while you're watching this, sit down, because this number is going to hurt you also. I have not read 288 books in my collection, which is unbelievable. That is so many. It's such a painful thing to look at that I own this many books, and that's how many I haven't read. So I've put all of the books that I haven't read into a big TBR jar, and if I'm having a point in time when I have nothing immediately that I really want to read, we're going to be using that TBR jar, and we're going to try to get through some of these books that I own that I haven't read, because honestly, it's just a shame and a crime that I haven't read all of these books that I've purchased, because I have so many, and they're all fantastic, and I'd love to be able to talk about more of them. So that's how we're going to be doing TBR from now on. It's not going to be in any kind of formal like monthly video kind of thing. It's just going to be sort of an ad hoc thing that we'll be doing here and there throughout the videos. So You might be wondering, in that case, what exactly are videos going to look like from here on out? I would like to lean into our coffee date videos, sort of more of a vlog style of video without necessarily the showing you around my life kind of vlogginess of it. If you've seen any of my coffee date with Alex videos, it's basically just us sitting down over a cup of tea and I tell you, or a cup of coffee, I guess that's what the video's named for, and I tell you about what I'm reading, about what's going on in my life, and we just have, a friendly chat. And it's really great and fun, and that gives us a lot of opportunity to talk about a lot of things. We can talk about what I'm reading, we can talk about books in general, we can talk about bookish news, we can talk about sort of anything. I can give you a little preview of my traveler's notebook if you're here for the journaling stuff. Like, we can do really anything in the coffee date videos. I do have some really interesting content that I've been planning for a couple of months and that I haven't been able to get to because I've been so tied up with the lunar TBRs and being stuck with these reading lists that I haven't been wanting to read, that I haven't been able to read some of the stuff that I wanted to do special videos for. So, this is sort of me announcing there are going to be some special videos coming that I really want to get into and be able to show you, because I've got a really lofty series planned that I'm actually really excited about and that I think is going to be very fruitful both for me and for you as my audience. So I'm really excited to get into that with you, but I need the time to do it. And now that I'm not going to be clogging myself up with a lunar TBR, I think I can do that. Now, that said, next month, August, is going to be the fall equinox for the Aurelian Readathon, which means that we're going to be doing a readathon, of which I'm going to be reading at least 8 books, if not more, and it's going to be a wild time, and I plan on vlogging most of it, honestly. Possibly in a more formalized context, possibly in the coffee date format. It could look like a lot of things. I haven't quite decided how it's going to happen yet, but I think I'm just going to follow the vibe and see what happens. I think that might be my kind of motto for the back half of 2023 here, is we're just gonna follow the vibe and see what happens. I think that is all for today. I just wanted to get on here, give proof of life, and just give you an update on what's been going on, where my head's been at, what I've been doing in terms of reading. So I'm gonna sign off for today. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for sticking around. If you're new here, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, because I'm going to be having more content at some point, because that's what this whole video is about, is getting me back on the content train. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of my future videos, and give this video a like, and comment me a heart emoji if you got to the end of this video, because I would love to see your beautiful faces in my comment section. And I think that is it. Oh, one last update in terms of social media. Like with everybody else, I am now on Threads, so go ahead and follow me on there at Ink and Fig. I don't know what's going to be happening on that platform, but I'm sure on it, so we have that going for us. If you're on Threads, let me know, and I will come follow you also so that we can hang out over there. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you being here, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.